All right, people, what is going on? Okay. So, welcome to tonight's group call. I think we have a couple other people who are going to be joining in here in just a couple minutes. As I kind of roll in, I'd like to just give a short, quick intro on what these group calls are about. These group calls are really for you guys to meet each other. Okay. It's to get advice from each other. I do record these group calls and I do post them on YouTube. If you don't want that to happen, send me a message here. Um, you guys all, when you RCP, you submit up to 2 questions for the call. I'm going to read them anonymously. I'm not going to dime you out. And as I think people have a unique perspective on what to answer and how to go about it, I'm going to just call on a person and you can give your 2 cents. If you really have something to say or somebody is really adding something good, just raise your hand. I think you can click a button and put your hand up, and I'll call on you. So I'm looking at all of you throughout the call. You don't need to stay the whole time. If you want to turn your camera on or turn whatever off, that's totally fine. Do what you got to do. You can just listen in. And if I call on you and you don't know an answer or you don't have 2 cents to kind of put in, just say, hey, I don't have anything, just pass whatever else. Feel free to use the chat, send your socials, share your website, share your business, kudos somebody if they make a good point. And if nobody wants to answer, or I think that there's something that needs to be said, I'll kind of chime in with my 2 cents, but this is not for me to run my mouth for an hour. I do that enough. I want to hear from you guys, and I want to see you guys helping each other out. Doesn't matter if it's personal or business related. I want you guys to share different points so you get different perspectives from different people all around the world. Okay? Does anyone have any questions? Awesome. Hey, as we kind of have over 5 people, put your intro, like who you are, where you're from, and what you got going on, either personally or professionally. Just put that in the main chat so we can kind of all see it. And then feel free to just connect with each other as we kind of go in. But I'll go in and I'll start reading the questions anonymously. But yeah, does anyone have any questions right off the rip? No. Okay, cool. So let's start with question number one. Number one, this is a good question. Lindsay, I'm gonna call on you right away for this. What has to happen internally in the 5D before it can manifest externally in the 3D? What do you think, Lindsay?
Are they asking like internally their state, which they want to be 5D?
Yeah, so like when we talk about the 3D and the 5D, and for some of the newer people here, I know John Franco and Chris and Eric, this is all your guys' first call. But the group calls, you can submit questions and we talk about a lot of different things. But like when we talk about energy, when I teach people how to meditate, when you meditate and you go internal, means you shut out all the external noise, you connect to a higher source of power that's known as the 5D, right? And typically how manifesting happens once you start reading energy books, you create something first in your mind in the 5D, and then you import it into the 3D, which is your external environment. So what does that process look like according to you, Lindsay? I know you're big on this stuff.
Yeah, well, what someone's experiencing in their outside world is, a direct like correlation of what's going on internally. So I would say they need to transmute like lower uh, emotions or frequencies like fear, shame, guilt. Um, find out what the root of like just belief, and then um, think I go with like always like perfectionism, like always finding or looking for something to change. But I think our outside world will tell you a lot, whether it's like a brief interaction with someone or something is like little. I don't think anything is really little. I think everything has a deep meaning, but that doesn't mean everything's always serious.
Okay.
I don't know if I
Awesome.
answered that right.
Yeah, your audio is kind of cutting out and your video is frozen, so I don't know what's going on if you're on Wi-Fi or whatever else, but like I love talking about meditating and doing all of this. Does anyone have any other specific experience with sort of meditating and bringing things in that they kind of want to comment on? John, Chris, Eric, anybody?
I,
what you got? Let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I haven't. I feel like this is one of those things I need to do, and
Yeah.
anytime I've tried to meditate, I just can't do. Like I drift off to sleep. I get totally unfocused. So I know that it's an acquired skill that so hopefully I can add that to the repertoire.
Mm. Anybody else with some good meditation practices? How long did it take you to really kind of break a level? John Franco, you ever try it? Chris, ever try it?
No.
No? All right, we're gonna get you there. Chris, what about you?
Um, like I would say I've tried it in kind of more stereotypical and traditional ways, but I have very similar to Eric's experience where if I find myself doing it, I end up kind of adrift. I end up feeling kind of sleepy. Um, but I've kind of found it through different ways unexpectedly, where I feel like what people describe as achieving through kind of the traditional methods that you hear about with closing your eyes, the deep breathing. I can kind of put my brain in that state. I just need a little bit more emphasis to do it and focus. But when it comes to breath work, absolutely have gone like I would say what breath work was described to me as when I did it and like practiced it, it was definitely something that worked a lot more effectively than meditation. So I would say just like if you're open to trying breath work, maybe start there if you're, kind of having a struggle with um I guess wrapping enough control around your mind to kind of like calm yourself down without that calmness disengaging you from focusing on it. That's pretty much it, I'd say.
Hell yeah, I love that. Amy, any meditation practices for you or things that have worked out in your favor?
I usually go to sleep with something on, or I will get woke up in the middle of the night. But I usually meditate and then fall asleep
Yeah.
because it puts me to sleep.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people say that they meditate when they are going to bed. I meditate when I first wake up because I have to quiet the noise in my mind before I like let everything else kind of infiltrate my mind, right? Including these little devices, right? That we love to just let permeate our brains as soon as our eyes wake up. That's not a healthy way to do it. So I'll typically get up and I'll sit down for 20 minutes. But when I started meditating, it took me 6 months before I like had any real breakthrough. And I was like, this is pointless. I don't get it. And then one day I like fell into it way deeper level of my conscious. And it was like, I was like, oh, this makes sense. And I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but like I really started discovering that like holy shit, there was a lot more to the iceberg than what had been thinking for the first 30 years of my life up to that point, right? And that was a beautiful moment for me looking back. So if you haven't done it, let's talk about it. Let's continue to do it. But cultivating a really deep meditation practice, once you fall into that white room like I did, that's a moment you'll never, ever, ever forget. And Joe Dispenza stuff, if you've never read Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself or Becoming Supernatural, those are two books I would highly recommend that will teach you about what it's like to break into that process. Um, if anyone wants to throw those in the chat, that would be super helpful. Anyone else have anything they want to add about meditation?
Well, so I'm trying to find the app on my phone, but there's one of those apps like has have feel had success where they listen to these affirmations or like these like as you go to sleep. So you reminded me of that, Amy, when like you go to sleep. I can't find the app. I actually someone told me about this, but I did it for a little while, but it was kind of the same thing. It was relaxing. I love the sound of this woman's voice. She was like very therapeutic and it was kind of like soothing and anyway, I'll find it. But basically, is that legit? Like listening to these, like if you go to sleep and it's like you hear someone just chanting in your ear, you're going to make $1 million. You're an amazing guy. All this, like, does that work? The affirmations? I don't know. I'm curious.
I want to let one of the alumni answer that. Amy, why don't you tackle that one?
I mean, it helps me. But my mom, so I have lucid dreams. I don't know if anybody else has lucid dreams, but I have always been able to control my dreams, for the most part. And so it's a fun skill I've had since I was little, but it helps me. So I have sleep paralysis sometimes. I have not for a while, but if I listen to those, it helps me mitigate the risk of having sleep paralysis. Um, and so it helps calm my mind. But I also am in the 99th percentile for ADHD. So I have a super active brain. So it helps my brain kind of simmer. But also the ocean does the same thing. So if I am near the ocean, that's why I have to come back to the ocean every 2 or 3 weeks. So either the ocean or nice words help my brain simmer at night when I go to sleep.
Headspace is the app. Anyone use that? Have you tried that one?
I'm
So
old. I use YouTube.
yeah, my to answer that a little, Amy's probably the most spiritual person in our community. Same with Val, same with Lindsay. You guys are all up there, spiritual leaders, I would say. Amy's also lives in Alaska, which is a very spiritual place, right? So, Eric, at some point we'll start talking about energetic meridians and flows and astrocartography and all of this stuff if you're key to that. I
Yeah.
love chatting about that stuff. I'm no expert, but I know a thing or two. But when it comes to listening to someone else's voice as you're going to bed, the only thing I would like you guys to consider is someone else's voice going to permeate the deepest levels of your subconscious brain? I personally would say that answer is no. I think that your voice recorded with your own, I hate the word affirmations. I prefer statements of truth. If you recorded your own statements of truth in an app that I'll detail for you next time, it's called Think Up. When you write your own goals, how you want to feel, the things you want to visualize, the things you want to experience, and you write them in a future recorded memory, and then you record them in your own voice. If you listen to that, as narcissistic as that sounds, eventually what you're doing is you're pre-paving your own reality, right? By cultivating all of the different things that you want, essentially in the 5D first, because things are created twice, first in the mind, second in your physical reality. Like Lindsay was saying, your external world is a reflection of your internal beliefs. So if you start to change your internal beliefs and you start to talk and listen to and speak in a way that is proactively creating and impacting your external 3D environment, eventually those things are going to happen. So if you say, I'm I made $1 million this year in 2026, or I found the next great love of my life in 2026, right? I'm in a happy, loving, fulfilling relationship. Um, all of these amazing things that you can record. Once you make them specific and you answer two very important questions, you answer how much by when, right? When you make that and you write it in a future recorded way, meaning that it's already happened, right? You're writing it in a future forward tense. You write it, you read it, you hear it, your brain starts to cultivate and build the systems of operation that's needed to facilitate that into your physical reality. Does this make sense? Amy and Lindsay are probably rolling their eyes because it's the
No,
100th
no,
time they've heard this.
I just had to have this conversation with somebody the other day because you have to get very clear because the universe will give you what you want, but you have to be very clear with what you want before the universe can give you the thing. And that kind of goes into like what, you know, Cam asks me all the time, how can I help you? And sometimes I don't know how I need help. And so if I can't tell Cameron how to help me, then Cameron can't help me if I can't tell Cameron how to help me.
Yeah.
So you have to tell the universe, here's the thing, give me the thing. This is exactly the thing that I want. And so make a list, write your list out, get very precise with write it. So I have a pair of boots. I know the price. I know exactly what sparkles are on those boots. They are expensive. I won't tell you how much they are, but get down to the nitty-gritty of what you want and you'll be surprised. The universe will deliver you the beautiful green cashmere sweater that you didn't
Exactly.
even needed. Huzzah.
Yeah. These the once you guys become alumni like Amy and Lindsay, like you guys are gonna hear this stuff dozens and dozens of times to the point where it will become second nature. Like we'll talk about all of this in our one-on-ones. And I try to do a better job now with my content by giving people just enough breadcrumbs to like know what I'm talking about to have these deeper conversations because I can't teach someone this in a 2 to 3 minute video, but you guys are gonna know and pick up on how I start to kind of talk about this stuff because I've seen this happen too many times in my life. And once I started figuring it out, like my girlfriend is perpetually amazed at how good I am at manifesting. And I don't try to manifest all of the time, but like I'm pretty freaking good at doing it on command. Anyways, there's one story from when I was a kid. I told my mom that I wanted an orange Batman, right? And I talked about it for like years and years and years. My mom couldn't find it until fucking one year. They made like one toy at Toys R Us with an orange Batman in it, right? And my mom joked for years. She's like, "You manifested as a child this like orange Batman toy in like a diver suit." And I got it. And it was like my favorite toy for years and years and years. And I had it pretty much until I left for college. And then they moved like 2 or 3 times and then it disappeared, right? But like that is how long some of this stuff can take. Other things that I've put on my Think Up app list, like buying a home, like finishing certain parts of the course or different events and circumstances that I wanted in my life, some of those took years. But I remember telling myself for years, right? I bought my first home. That was one of my affirmations. I bought my first home. I bought my first home. I lived in Boston, I lived in San Diego, I lived in Denver. And I don't know if you know anything about the real estate market in those three places, but I certainly wasn't affording a home in downtown or any of those neighborhoods, right? Until I moved to North Carolina. And I remember the opportunity came up for me to buy my home that I was renting in, and I fucking did it, right? And I was like, holy shit, I've been telling myself this for 5 years, right? And it just came true. So you have to stick with the program, write it in a future recorded memory, continue to tell it to yourself for years, and I promise you, it'll happen. The only time it doesn't is when you quit. Make sense? Anyone else want to add? Lindsay? Chris, was that a hand? I can't tell.
No, it wasn't a hand. It was just moving in front of my camera. I was just gonna say, are they still here because you're giving the avoidant breadcrumbs, triggering the hot and cold nervous system?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we'll talk about a lot of different things, but
Oh, I know. I'm just busting chops.
yeah, I've already spoken too much for this group call. So let's hop to the next one. And men provide actions, women provide affirmations. How do we bridge that gap? Men provide actions, women provide affirmations. John Franco, what you got on this one?
Men provide actions, women provide affirmations.
What does that
I don't
mean?
know. I have no idea. Is that true?
I don't know.
Well, this is where I would start.
Let's ask Eric. Eric, what you got on that? Men provide actions, women provide affirmations, meaning confirmation of actions. Do you think that's true? Why or why not?
I I don't I don't know. I mean, that's actually a good question. I have no I have no idea. I mean, I don't even really understand maybe what it's going for, but I mean, I know there's this polarity between men and women, and men are supposed to lead women. And this is a tough one, right? I have 3 daughters, so I'm telling them lead, do your thing. You don't need a man, all that kind of stuff. But is it something to do with that concept?
I would probably perceive that question as to be like, okay, men make decisions, okay, and women just kind of like speak or agree. Not that they follow in tow, but women speak, whereas men act more. How do we find common ground between the sexes there? Men are
Hmm.
always acting and women are always speaking. What's the common ground? It's okay if you don't know. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean, I have no idea. I feel like I do more speaking than acting, so I got to drop the speaking thing.
Yeah.
I think in almost a strange way, when we highlight our differences, it actually drives us further apart as people. So I think when we have the separation between affirmations and actions being separate things, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice, because I know plenty of times where, um, like one of the things that I kind of struggled with when I was young was I always wanted to have a lot of friends around me, and I would try to kind of make plans with a group of people with honoring everyone's plans. And so what I did was I sat down, spoke to everybody, tried to get everyone on the same page and coordinating schedules. And 9 times out of 10, it would like blow up in my face. And I would just go in circles with trying to make everyone, you know, good with what was going on. And what I started doing was I started saying, okay, I'm going to start making plans of things that even if I go by myself, I'm going to do anyway. And I'm going to be here at this day, at this time. And if people want to go, great. And if not, I'm still going to go and make the best of it. So it started with like little stuff like movies, because I loved going to the movies by myself. I hate when like people are next to me, nudging me, talking to me during the movie, and like I miss stuff. And so it was cool because I would have times where, yeah, I'd go by myself, but I was fine with doing that anyway. And then I had times where, like, I went to a comedy movie with a big group of people and we all ended up having a good time. And then we made plans like in that moment. So it's kind of strange because it's like I set the affirmation and then I take the action to kind of be there. So I feel like one kind of feeds into the other. So I don't really get the divide. You know what I mean? But maybe I'm missing or interpreting the question wrong. Could be
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Lindsay always has good polarity things, right? Like I love all these different insights. I don't really have a good answer either yet, but Lindsay, what do you think? How do you bridge the gap between the sexes?
Me? I think that people want different things, and I think some women like men to take all the action and then for them to just talk. I think you just need to have a healthy balance between like your feminine and masculine energy. Um, Personally, I don't want a man to be taking all the action. I want to be taking the action, but not in like a masculine uh, perspective of like protecting. But I want to be taking action in a business sense, and in my own like health goals and all that. Um, I think it comes down to love languages too, because um, affirmation affirmations, that's like what's that love language? I don't know. That's like verbal words of affirmation, So some people need more of that, need more reassurance. I think women may be more open with how much more reassurance they need, and men probably need a lot too, but they won't usually say it. So I think it just comes down to communication in the relationship.
I would agree. I like that a lot. Anyone else? John Franco, you got anything for us? No, that people have gone?
I was just thinking while the others were kind of explaining their perspective. I don't know. I feel like I'm not the opposite of it, but I wouldn't want to have a woman that's just like says yes or no. It's like sounds boring to me. I think that to some degree a man should definitely make a decision or like make decisions, but maybe big decisions, or lead with a very strong perspective. But I think in a healthy relationship, at least from my perspective, I wouldn't enjoy someone that just says yes or no. Maybe when it comes to dinner, but not where to raise a child.
That's good. I like that.
I
Anyone else?
also I have a theory that I feel like may tie into this, that I've kind of broken down for people throughout my life, just with relationships and stuff that I've witnessed. I feel like, especially when it comes to like, heterosexual relationships, most people at the simplest levels can be broken down into zeros, ones, and twos. To me, a two is somebody who is like extra bossy, always going to take charge, always going to show the initiative. always going to want to, they're the ones that wear the pants, if you want to call it that. The people that are ones are people that have enough security in themselves to be by themselves, but to also hold enough space and let other people come in and join their life. And zeros are people that are the ones that essentially don't wear the pants and are extremely passive. And so the most like successful couples that I've ever seen always end up on an even number. So if you have two people and they're both twos, they get to four. So it's a lot of energy, but they both understand one another in that capacity. If you have two people who are ones, they come together, they have that symmetry, they become twos. And then if you have two people who are zeros, they're basically going to live in mediocrity forever because neither one of them is going to take charge and learn to grow. So you can either be happy or miserable or whatever it is for the rest of your life. But if you have somebody that's a one and they end up with a zero, they're eventually going to feel like that zero is dead weight that they're dragging. Whereas if you have someone who's a one that ends up with a two, the two is not going to like the one sense of independence and them not falling in line. And they're eventually going to get burned out that the one isn't letting them be the boss of everything. And they're going to go look for someone they can control. So I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I've had a lot of people that I present that to where it's like, that kind of makes sense.
That, I'm not gonna lie, you had me in the first half, but that is fucking profound. Like
I'm glad you think, dude, throw it in a video if you want.
No, I thought I can't even do it justice. That was just for us. Do you guys like
Good.
that?
I'm glad.
Were you guys impressed by that? Fucking, I was, dude.
That
Bravo.
that was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
That
really
makes
good.
that makes a lot of sense. Okay, fucking sick. Let's put a pin in that. I don't think we're gonna top that one.
Do
All
you
right.
end a relationship when you're like, listen, we're an odd number. You're out.
I mean, the idea is to keep it simple. So I just felt like that was the best way to do it because we're all kind of looking for that perfect complement. But when you have this, the disparity like we're talking about, it does make it hard to find because like Lindsay said, like everybody is different. It's all relationship dependent and it's all situationally dependent. And that extends, like to me, that extends to life, business, whatever too, you know?
Mm.
So.
Okay. Good stuff. Continue the dialogue, right? If I ever like move on and you guys want to continue that, just go to the chat and just do this. I want you guys to connect with each other. Again, Discord is awesome. Like when someone comments something, like be like, hey, I'm gonna send you a PM and have that conversation with that person, right? I've gotten a few random complaints of, hey, Discord is going on, and I tell people turn off your notifications, but I want you guys to participate, but I want you guys to connect in Discord, on school, and all of our other communities, and here on the calls. Like I love when you guys make friendships and plan trips and just get to know each other. Like that's what this community is about, okay? Because there will be some times this year where I'm going to be gone for months at a time. So I want you guys to continue to connect and do this kind of stuff. All right. But next question. How are people developing and sticking with a solid morning routine? Is anyone else losing hours a day to social media scrolling? Let's keep it to the morning routine. How are you guys developing and sticking a solid morning routine? What's been the best morning routine you've ever done? How do you guys stick to it? What is yours right now? What's the most difficult part about it? John Franco, you're up.
I found Atomic Habits to help me a lot with that. Like I'm the type of person that it doesn't take me long to get into routine, and like once I'm in it, like I'm pretty much in it, so I feel like I'm really good with that. The thing I will say that's helped me personally is like just small things and adding them to things you're already doing. So it's like if you want to add 20 push-ups to your morning routine, like do it after something you already have a routine on, like I don't know, like right after brushing teeth, right? Something like that. That's my 2 cents.
Okay, I love that. Chris, what's your morning routine?
I mean, honestly, I'm the absolute wrong person to answer this question. I absolutely hate the mornings, probably more than anybody else on planet Earth. So my morning routine is to think as little as possible about the act of getting out of bed and getting my day started and doing what I have to do. Because I know if I start distracting myself and putting it off, I'm just going to have a bad day. So my kind of routine is to just power through it, basically.
Okay.
Like, so
From the time that you wake up, walk us through your morning routine. Powering through what? What are you trying to power through?
first thing I do when I wake up is I keep a notebook next to my bed, and I try to not necessarily keep a journal, but if I'm struggling with something or I have things that I want to reflect on that I feel like my mind just isn't doing a great job of processing, I write them down before I go to sleep. And in the morning, I'll wake up, I'll remind myself of what I wrote. And then if I have a dream, I always write my dreams. I don't know what they mean. I don't know how significant they are. I just always feel compelled to pick up a pen and write them because that's the kind of person that I am. My hands kind of transfer shit that my mind can't really put out into the world by itself. So I usually start with that. Um, I don't look at my cell phone right when I wake up in the morning. So I'll usually, you know, brush my teeth. Sometimes I shower before I go to sleep. Sometimes I need a shower in the morning. So it's one of those two things. Either way, coming out of the bathroom, get dressed, and kind of grab all the stuff that I'll need for work. And I get in my car, and the first time I look at my cell phone is to put some music on. Um, and then I try to just keep my screen on black while I drive to work. I'll listen to music, I'll listen to a podcast, whatever it is. And last thing I do before I kind of go in is just take a deep breath, say a couple things out into the world, and then I just start work. And that's kind of when I guess the gun fires at the starting line for me. But I try to do it like really quick, like everything, even the writing is just going to look like chicken scratch to the average person. Because the more if I think about kind of, um, you know, the more I think about how much I have to do or what I'm wrestling with, my mind tends to just future trip and I just get too overwhelmed negatively. So I just try to like keep my mind like half asleep for as long as possible.
Okay. I love that. Amy, morning routine.
Oh, Lord. Which day? It depends on the day of the week. Depends on what state I'm in or what town, or what I'm doing. Yeah, morning routine. Uh, I usually dance at some point in time. I brush my teeth. Um, I live in a constant state of chaos, so I control the chaos. I make sure everyone is living, breathing, patients are alive, kids are alive. Coffee and dancing. I work in healthcare, guys. I don't obviously I'm in the dark. I'm in radiology for those that don't know. There was a kid screaming down the hallway. I didn't hear the question, so I was actually stepped out to go down the hallway to see why they were screaming down the hallway. So we control what we can control, and that's the best we can do. But no, I have started to journal again. I stopped for a while, but
Good.
and writing. But yeah, coffee and dancing is really like that's my solid go-to that is like always that I'll get my routine back, Cam. It'll come back, but
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for something really, really specific from you guys, which is like the formulation of a routine. And I think here's my theory. I think a lot of people spend their days and their mornings becoming reactive to the world instead of being proactive with their mind, right? So if you whatever it is that you do or decide to do, instead of waking up and picking up your phone or reacting to the kids or to the dogs, whatever else, there's an amazing book. Number One, Atomic Habits was a great recommendation, John Franco. But there's a book called The 5 a.m. Club that really just blew my mind. It's by Robin Sharma. And I think it blew my mind because I was hiking Long's Peak in Colorado and I listened to this entire book. Long's Peak is like a 17-hour hike in one day. And this book was like 11 or 12 hours. And so the book really stuck with me because I just had my headphones in the entire day. But the book is all about waking up and following a routine called the 20-20-20 method, which is 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of writing or reading, and then 20 minutes of physical exercise or yoga, stretching, whatever you want. And I did the 5 a.m. club morning routine for like 2 years. And that routine, you do it without your phone. You can read, you can write, you can do it in whatever order that you want. But waking up at 5, giving yourself 20 minutes of meditation, then 20 minutes of light exercise, and then 20 minutes of reading, or whatever order that you want, without checking your phone, without having other people or life permeate you. Like I lived in a bachelor pad when I did this. And I did that morning routine for such a long time. And then I would run for 30 minutes after that with my dog around the Bronco Stadium, around the Platte River. And then I would sit at 6:30 every single day, 7 days a week. And then I'd meditate on this riverbank. And then I'd walk home for 5 minutes. Then I would take a 2-minute cold shower. Then I would do 5 minutes of breath work. And then I would listen to another book while I was making breakfast. And then I would review my goals and to-dos list that I wrote the night before for this day that I was going into. I already had my schedule written down. I was a fucking crazy person during this period of life. But I did that for such a long time that it was like by the time that 7:30, 8 rolled around and I got to work, I had already done more shit in 2 to 3 hours than most people do in a day. I'd already lived an entire day, gotten 2 workouts in, journaled, breath work, cold fucking shower, all the stuff, to the point where my energy was just peaking. It was max at that time. So that was the best morning routine that I ever have done. And if you're in school and you have access to the emotional strengthening morning routine course, I walk you through that process in like 15 videos. And that would be my suggestion to you on how to take that morning routine and make it so that it is impermeable to other bullshit that other people can bring into your life if you allow this little device to go into your brain first thing in the morning. So my advice to you, morning routine, sleep without your phone in the same room. Start there. And then add in all of that other crazy person shit that I just mentioned. Does that make sense, Eric?
I I love it. I mean, I think for me, I'm trying to get to that place. I mean, I've got so much. We talked about it just on our first. I mean, I've got so much happening in my life that what happens is and I did get some of the stuff from the store on the sleep that we talked about, like because I need better sleep because I'm up late, my mind will not shut down, and so then I can't get up in the morning. And what I hate, I work from home if I'm not traveling, and so I hate like getting up with just enough time to like stumble over to my desk and fire up the computer with like no thought, like meditation, journaling. I mean, like I think that sets you up for a lot of success.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, look, people don't come to work with me so that I can tell you to journal and meditate and do breath work. Like you can follow anybody on the internet that's going to tell you to do that. But there are bare minimum requirements, and those things really do help establish a ground floor for where to start. Different tools for different people. Like what I just told you about that morning routine, my life had just burned to the ground like 2 times in a row at that point. So I literally was like, okay, my back was against the wall and I had fucking nothing to lose. So I went for all of it and I just started swinging for the fence. And I consistently built something that worked for me to get me out of that rut that I was in. And then I started momentum, right? So it's like your your ability to gain stuff or build stuff is all dependent on what you've already lost and what you're continuing to release and give up. Like if there's any sort of consistent thing that I would encourage all of you guys to do, it would be to go into a period of catharsis. What can I leave behind? What can I let go of? Most of the times, raising your vibration, right? Learning how to manifest, clearing space for all these different things. Like it's not about doing more to your routine or to your day. It's about what can you release. Like you have stuff that's weighing you down energetically. Most people are walking around with 315 pounds of dead weight energy on their back. What would happen if you let all that shit go, right? Naturally, you would start to gravitate up. Like your vibration goes up when you cut away all of the dead weight from your life. And that's why I tell people to stop holding on or stop hanging on to stuff that's no longer serving them because you just release it. Naturally, your energy starts to lift up. So don't worry about adding things, but think about right now, what can I release, right? And how can you be proactive with your day instead of being reactive? Oh, fuck, I have 5 minutes to get to the computer. That's a stressful day right there. Congratulations. You just trained your body, your brain, your nervous system to wake up and be in a reactive mode for the rest of the day. Like, fuck that, dude. Do what Amy does, right? 5 a.m. hits, she kicks down her kids' doors, right? And she goes in
I
there like
do.
a SWAT team. That's proactive.
First thing in the morning. Let's go, kids. Wake up. Mom's here.
Yeah. My kids are going to be in trouble because I'm just going to do that every single day, right? Their nervous systems are going to be all jacked up from the time they're super young. No, just kidding. Um, anyone
I would
else?
be moving out of your house by the time I was 12.
Yeah,
Started waking up at 5 a.m. every day. I'd be like, nope, I'm done. See ya.
Yeah. But like there's a beauty to it. I want to hear it from other early risers, but like sometimes when I can't sleep, like I'll wake up at like 3:12 a.m. or like 3:43. Sometimes it'll be like 2:42 and I'll just get up and I'll just be like, fuck it. Those are the times where I get up and I go to my computer and I will do 3 or 4 hours of like unbridled work. And that is also typically the best work that I'll do that day. And then I'll go back to bed at like 6 or 7 in the morning for an hour or two. And then I actually start my day. And I've already actually got a lot of shit done. Okay. So like if anyone else is an early riser, you know there's a very, very amazing level of energy and creativity that's available to you in those wee hours of the morning. Okay. Back in the day, 100 plus years ago, they used to call it the ether, AETHER. And the ether is full of electricity. It's full of different impulses. It's full of divine guidance. And there was a big belief back in the day that people that were early risers had more access to the ether, and the ether was full of more creative ideas. The best story that I can tell from this was about Michael Jackson, actually. And Michael Jackson called his producer one time at like 1:51 in the morning. It was like, hey, I need you to go to the studio and meet me there at 3 a.m. and get the whole team there. And the producer was like, Michael, what the fuck are you talking about? It's 1:51 in the morning. Are you drunk? Are you on drugs? What's the deal? He's like, nope, I have a song idea and I need to record it right now. And he's like, can it wait till the morning? Why do you need to record it right now? And Michael Jackson said, if I don't go and do this in the next hour, God is going to give this to Prince. And I cannot afford that to happen, right? I swear to God, that story makes me laugh. It's a true story. I looked it up, probably paraphrasing a whole bunch of shit, but that's a true story. And so if you think about that, like divine access, divine intelligence, the ether, God, he gives you ideas and he wants you to work on stuff. And it is in those wee hours of the morning that if you connect to that energy, I promise you, you will have an infinitely more impactful result on what it is that you're doing. Because the best hours I've ever worked on my mind or going to the gym or on my business have been in the hours between like 2:30 in the morning and 6 a.m. So you want to get access to a better day and get proactive and start getting more stuff done, get up in between those hours. Doesn't have to be 2:30. You don't have to be Mark Wahlberg, but like, yeah, man, start getting up at 5. See how it changes your life. Make sense?
I produce music and I know that story's true for a fact. And
Really?
everything about you're saying with the ether stuff, yeah, that's true. And I've worked with a lot of people and they'll tell me like 90% of the stuff that, I release as my material. Because every single person that works on music and is honest with themselves,
Mhm.
you hear this much, maybe, like at best. And their catalog is like that. But they'll all say they were all written past midnight. That's one of my favorite producers' things. He's like, I've never written a good tune like 8, 9, 10 in the morning. It's never happened.
Yeah, accessing the ether is like driving at night as well, or driving during rush hour, right? Where would you rather be? So think about that and look up that concept for yourself. Are there any other early risers? Anyone have an elite morning routine or just have experience of waking up early? Your preferred things? Anybody
I
else?
wake up early, typically like 5, sometimes earlier.
Mhm.
I agree with everything. I don't know. To me, it feels like everyone is sleeping and I get stuff done. Um, and like my morning routine is more like I get up, make coffee, call my mom. That's probably the first thing I do.
Yeah.
And then call someone else, try to do one thing that's good. I don't know, whatever it might be. and then I get to work.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
feel that
good.
way too, but I feel that way at like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, the world is asleep. I'm getting shit done. But that's why I hate the morning because I stay up really late into the morning.
Yeah. It's okay, right? There's history is filled with people that were both night owls and or early morning risers, right? And that
I
kind of
think it
changes.
has something to do with when you actually are born too. Because I've noticed a lot of my friends that are born in the nighttime are more night people, and a lot of my friends that are born early in the morning become morning people.
Whoa, that's true for me. I was born in the morning. Damn. Chris, you might be onto something, dude.
Maybe, who knows, man? It's all just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that's two for you tonight. I'll award you 2 points to Gryffindor tonight. We'll see if you get a hat trick. All right. Okay.
It has to do with your chronotype.
You want to tell us what a chronotype is? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm reading a
If there's
book right
actually
now.
scientific stuff.
What you got, Linz? Go
There's
for
a
it.
book right now called The Power of One, and there's 4 different chronotypes. It's the dolphin, the bear, the wolf. Forgetting the fourth one, but it basically tells you when you should eat, when you should wake up, when you should have sex, all this stuff. But I'm kind of struggling because I've been waking up at like 7 a.m. I'm trying to make it earlier, but my chronotype does the best between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. So I feel like I'm trying to fight that, but I need more hours in the day. Um, it's kind of hard. It also has to do with what you eat, because if you eat certain carbs or sugar, your blood sugar can drop and then you'll feel randomly tired. You just have to be super aware of like what you're putting in your body and what
Did you
time.
find that to be true before you read the book? Like, did you feel like you were the most productive between 5 and 7 p.m., or did you read the book and you were like, okay, so according to everything else, that's my time slot?
I feel like I'm the most productive around like nighttime, or I feel the most like awake and energized from like
But
7
like in the
a.m. to
early
2
evening.
p.m. I'd say between 5 to 11 are my like,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But then it's like a struggle because then I'm trying to get like 8 hours of sleep and then wake up early. So I don't know, it's hard. I'm trying to make the most out of every hour because I think a lot of us like think that we're like immortal, and it's like, no, we don't have an excessive amount of time. And I always feel like I don't have enough time and I'm running out of time. So working on that because I have a lot that I want to do, but it just feels like once I do something, it's just like a checklist off the to-do list. You know, it's not like, oh, good job. It's like, okay, what's the next thing? So yeah.
Good stuff. Linz, maybe you should drop your Instagram in there so these guys can follow you because you talk a lot about this in your content and stuff like that as well. If you're still doing that, right? Like I
Yeah.
really do want you guys to connect. So find avenues to do this because you guys are so knowledgeable. Like I learned shit from you guys and you fucking yeah, I've learned a bunch tonight on this call already. So um I love when you guys start putting out your own content and talking about this stuff and helping other people. Like that's what this community is all about. So keep it up. We got 10 minutes left, so I kind of want to hop to some of these other questions that were good. Um, and this is a good one. Is anyone else losing hours a day to social media scrolling? A. Yes. Answer. What you got?
I mean, of course, watching your content is acceptable, but the other stuff is not good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, I've been losing a lot of scrolling time to stuff on the Epstein files because I'm just kind of like flat. I cannot believe some of the things that I'm seeing. And now it's at the point where I realized this today actually. I'm scrolling more than I usually am because I don't know what's real anymore.
Hmm.
Is anyone else having that issue? I don't know what to believe. I'm just like, I don't know. Like I'm watching Seed Dance 2.0 make movies in real time using characters from different generations. and I'm just like, I don't know, I don't know what's real anymore. I have no idea what to believe. And I
That
feel
just
like
means it's working.
yeah, yeah, like they're doing a great job at just like distorting reality, and I have to stop because I just don't know what to believe anymore.
The
Anybody
idea
else?
is to make it so overwhelming and confusing so that it becomes and feels so overwhelming and confusing and you give up.
Mm, yeah, they're
Well,
doing a good job.
I think it's just what's just wild is how the algorithm works. I mean, like, so, I'm dealing with like a divorce and a breakup and all these things. And so, like, I'll watch one video and then, I mean, obviously, we all know how it works. And then the algorithm's like, I got you. I got 700 more like that. So buckle up, you know. And the next thing I know, I mean, my 5 a.m., I will sometimes wake up at 5, and the next thing I'm like, it's 7. Like I just blew like 2 hours just doing this.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. I mean, I love the idea, Chris, of like, I don't even know if I could do that, not look at my phone until 8 in the morning. Like I don't think I'd have the shakes.
Hmm.
You really want to trip yourself out, try deleting the Instagram app off of your phone for one day and don't put anything where the Instagram app was on your screen, and then watch how many times you go to open it.
Mm.
Dang.
That'll tell you how addicted you are.
Yep. Yep. That's a good point. Or the worst thing is the other day I was talking about how to make banana bread, and then all of a sudden I got like 18 influencers trying to teach me how to make banana bread in real time, and I was like, oh God, dude, it listens too. So you have to watch out the conversations that you have, the things that you text. These social media apps will scan that, and then they're going to start feeding you content that's based upon the things that you're typing and talking out loud to, right? These happiness engineers at Meta and so forth, they're very, very, very good. Okay. But you need to consciously stop yourself, like set time limits, put your phone away, don't bring your phone in the car, right? Put it in a bag, whatever. Just like you need to consciously, next time you're in line at the grocery store, Walmart, wherever, literally when you're in line, force yourself not to pick up your phone and scroll and just watch. See if you can actively count how many other people are on their phones around you while you're waiting. See if you can do
Sounds
that.
like a great way to scare yourself.
Yeah, it's a great way to scare yourself. Same, every time you drive up to a red light, just sit there and be like, I'm not doing it, right? And see if you can just wait out the red light like people did for decades ahead of us, right? Those would be the one or two ways that I would start training yourself to just be there in the moment, exist in the moment. Okay. It's a lot of times it's a discomfort that tells people to sort of like pull out their device because guess what? That dopamine machine is free and it's always there. So you have to start weaning yourself off one red light at a time. That would be my suggestion to you.
And I think another good one that I heard somebody say is to go through and unfollow 3 accounts a day.
Mm,
Doesn't have to be permanently, but the part of your brain that makes you essentially in control with what you engage with actually will reinforce better habits with not feeling like you're having to engage with everything all the time. So they say if you take like a week and you delete like 21 accounts, which is easy for most people to do that are addicted because they don't even know half the people they follow past a certain point, but it actually retrains your brain to interact with the app in a different way than you're used to. So rather than essentially consuming, you're kind of creating, if you want to call it that, by being proactive with what you're doing. And they say that can help like break you out of like, how people like if they're quitting smoking, they're like, they can't drive without a cigarette, that kind of thing. And you'll see if they quit smoking, they instinctively like roll down the window like 5 minutes into their drive because they're convinced they're lighting up. It's the same part of your brain that helps break those smaller habits.
love that.
Yeah,
That's
no, it was interesting. It actually worked too. I did try it. And that, like, before I went full delete off of most stuff, it helped me with Facebook back in the day. So
Chris, you seem like a good guy to build a compound with. I'm not gonna lie. So, well,
I've just been curious, man. Like, I think that about you because I see what you're doing as the same kind of curiosity with 1,000 times the amount of discipline. Like I think about the 5 a.m. thing, it sounds great, but then I think about the nights where I want to go out and get fucked up with my friends. And I think about breaking the habit after that day
Yeah.
because there's no way I'm getting up. Like if I'm going to a show and I know I'm going to like get home at 2 a.m., I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. I'm going to be up, but that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
fact that you did that for 2 years, like that's a miracle to me. Like you may as well have told me
Yeah.
you walked on water.
No, no. I
But
was
that's
just
why I think I chose you to try to help me.
nah. Well, it's a community effort, right? Like everyone here is so good. I know for a fact all of you guys have amazing skills to bring to the table, which is why I want you guys to continue to connect with each other. Show up for these group calls, they're free, right? Wall, I'm thinking of it too. If you want $1 million business idea, create a social media app that's just audio. You can only create short form audio. You can still scroll, but no video, no pictures. Create a social media app that's just short form audio from random people, still algorithm based. If somebody created that, that would be such a minimalist social media that would probably take off. So there it is. There's my $1 million idea for tonight. Um,
So
anyway.
it's kind of like Twitter, but it plays out loud.
Yeah, but it's Twitter, but it plays out loud like not even podcast form. There's probably like a max limit, like 5 minutes or something like that. But just short form, just audio. You can still scroll, you can still follow people, but no videos, no photos. I think that would be so profound. It would be entirely different to see people do that. Whatever. Check it out, write it down, save it for later if you want. Pay someone from Pakistan to develop that. But if I put this on the internet, maybe they'll get to it first. Okay. So beat him to the punch. We're coming up on time here. If you guys want to, if you don't want this posted because there was personal info here, or you said something, or you just don't want your face or your name on the internet, send me a message on WhatsApp, or you can send it here. Just make sure that I see it and confirm it, and I'll let you know. You don't need to say anything out loud. It's totally fine if you don't. I have people do it all the time. Say, hey, just please don't post that. I said this, or I don't want my shit out there. Totally cool. I get it.
Do you leave
Uh,
these up indefinitely, or is it just like
yeah, I
you
just
leave this one up till the next one comes?
I put them on my YouTube channel, and
Okay.
I've been posting on YouTube, I think, for years, and only have like 1,700 followers or whatever. But these are the ones that get the most views. I think probably because I usually put them in the Discord. But it's usually good stuff, and I just think that you guys are very impressive with the way that you guys speak to each other. And I think that should be commended. So I don't clip them, I don't put them on social media, but they do exist on YouTube. So years down the road, and someone's like, oh, fucking check it out. Right? Um, so whatever. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, anything else, let me know. Shoot me a message next week if you have a session scheduled. My week got blown up with work, so I will be completely unavailable Monday to Friday, a very long week next week. So I'll have to reschedule you guys outside of that. I added additional times for the weekend, so you guys can reschedule for then. So probably no group call next Thursday. I would probably say that's safe to assume for now. Um, but I'll let you guys know. Pay attention on the Discord, send stuff. I love the conversations there, right? But just reply to people or send DMs and then connect offline from there too. If you're not in school, let me know. I'm also trying to revive our Facebook group that I started like years ago, but never really marketed. So if you're in that, awesome. If you're not, let me know. And then there's a LinkedIn group as well, so you guys can connect on a professional manner as well. If you're not in that, let me know. Go to school, start the emotional strengthening course. You guys are all doing one-on-ones or are alumni at this point. So just send me a message if you want to start that course once you're in on school. And as always, guys, I appreciate your support and I hope you guys have a great night. Okay.
Thanks, man. You too. Nice meeting everyone.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Bye.
Talk soon.